I'm gonna take this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Turn into a robot? What's going on? Sorry, Alyssa started to sound like a robot. Are you really Alyssa? Who am I speaking with?
He's playing into the theme of the movie again.
Oh, got it.
Anyway.
Hey guys, this is New Script on the Block. I'm Alyssa, and I'm here with Miro, Graham, and Ashley, and we are going to be reading the script for Us, the horror film. We are over at page 87, and we'll put the link to the script in the description on our YouTube video and our SoundCloud, so if you want to follow along, click on that. And we are going to be reading the climax, so spoilers ahead.
You're so good at introing. Nailed it.
You're the best, Alyssa.
The whole time.
Say what?
I just said that you should just intro those every single time.
I think I just got lucky that time, and it also helped that I it also helped that I let you guys go enough times that it gave me. Do you know what I mean? I was
inspired her.
Yeah, you guys inspire me. I wouldn't be who I am without you. So, who else seen the movie? Anybody?
I've seen it.
I've seen it a long time ago.
I have not.
All right, so Ashley, there are definitely some spoilers ahead for you. I apologize now.
Oh, shucks.
Yes,
because this is totally the movie I would be wanting to see.
This is a suspense horror by Jordan Peele, right?
Yes.
Written and directed by him.
This was coming hot off of his success with Get Out.
Hold on, I'm just checking real quick, and yep, sure enough, he is the writer as well as directing the piece. Yeah, so if you haven't seen the trailer before, go watch it. But the gist is that this story takes place in a universe where our main characters have kind of in the middle of the night discovered that they have duplicates out there, doppelgangers of themselves, that are, basically an exact reflection of them, but with their own unique quirks and differences that make them really horrifying. And so this scene is the big, epic final confrontation between the main character and her doppelganger, and it looks like, I don't remember their names, but it looks like it's Adelaide is our main heroine, and then Red is her doppelganger. So this is the big epic fight/dance sequence that ends it all.
Ooh. Is there a reason why you chose this?
I mean, this standout to me was the best scene in the whole movie. I think the music makes a huge impact on it, but I would say this scene intercuts between the two, and they're almost both heroes in a sense, right? We're watching two women who are fighting for the right to live, because only one of them can exist, up on Earth, and the other one has to go. And so we're watching it intercut between them fighting and then their shared dream or love of dance. And so we see cutting back and forth between them growing up and aspiring to dance and living these very different lives from each other, and them fighting one another. And it's, I don't know, I think it's just a very emotionally compelling and also kind of eerie and haunting scene.
Are we reading this from the end, to the end, or?
It's not the end of the movie. It's not the very end. It's the climax.
Okay. So this is mostly just narration. Nobody seems to be talking in this scene.
Yeah, I don't believe so. I think at the most that Adelaide or Red, one of the two, I believe that they have one line. Nope, because that's on the next page. They technically, Red sings Itsy Bitsy Spider, but that's written in the text. It's not they write it out in her dialogue.
How about let's all read it in unison together?
Oh my God, that's so fitting for this story.
I was about to say, yeah, it would be. Okay, on 3.
Starting with music or starting?
Yeah. Okay. That's assuming that all three of us know how to pronounce pas de deux.
Paul de Ducks. Let's get it right, people.
Music, Nutcracker. Final pas de deux. The two begin to circle one another. Flashback. Interior ballet stage, night. 14-year-old Adelaide steps on a stage to begin her ballet recital in front of a rapt audience. It's classic and beautiful. Interior, the underpass, classroom hallway, 1993. 14-year-old Red stands in one of the rooms of the underpass in front of a shadowy people observing. She steps out and begins her dance down the line. Her movements are primal, visceral, and dark. Present day. Interior, the underpass, classroom, day. The two fight. Adelaide rushes toward Red with the fire poker overhead. Red parries with her scissors and pokes Adelaide in the shoulder and walks away, circling Adelaide around the perimeter of the classroom. Adelaide starts pursuing her. Flashback. Interior, ballet, night. 14-year-old Adelaide's ballet is elegant and beautiful. She dances with a partner that's not there. Interior, underpass, classroom, hallway, 1993. 14-year-old Red turns heads as she dances. She portrays the girl lost and frightened in a maze. Continue. Present day. Interior, the underpass, classroom, day. Adelaide runs at Red on the other side of the room. Red kicks a desk, dislodging an entire row of desks towards Adelaide. Adelaide changes direction accordingly and swings at Red. Red dodges and pokes Adelaide in her side. Again, she walks away quickly, rounding some desks to reposition herself on the other side of the room. Flashback. Interior, ballet, night. 14-year-old Adelaide's dance continues, picking up steam. Interior, underpass, classroom, hallway, 1993. 14-year-old Red dances in fear. She clutches her neck and convulses in pain. Present day. Interior, the underpass, classroom, day. Adelaide, hurt, rises. She starts toward Red, diagonally crossing the room. She pushes the desk out of her way this time, clearing a sloppy path. She swings at Red, who dodges. The fire poker sticks in the wall. Adelaide can't immediately dislodge it. Red attacks with open scissors. Adelaide takes her hands off the poker and blocks the scissors with the handcuff chain. Red kicks Adelaide, who flies over some desks. Red runs out the door. Flashback. Interior, ballet, night. 14-year-old Adelaide starts to run with her dance. Interior, underpass, classroom, 1993, night. 14-year-old Red starts to run in her dance. Interior, the underpass, classroom, hallway, day. The chase explodes into a main tunnel. Red backs up as Adelaide pursues her. They manage to avoid stepping on rabbits. Flashback. Interior, ballet, night. 14-year-old Adelaide spins perfectly. Interior, underpass, classroom, hallway, 1993, night. 14-year-old Red portrays a body being dragged through the tunnel. Present day. Interior, the underpass, classroom, hallway, barracks, hallway. Adelaide chases Red around a corner. A new hallway extends in front and behind her. Flashback. Interior, ballet, night. 14-year-old Adelaide delicately caresses her arm while standing on point. Interior, underpass, classroom, hallway, 1993, night. 14-year-old Red reaches to the ceiling with heartbroken longing. Present day. Interior, the underpass, barracks, hallway, day. Adelaide pins Red against the door, her fire poker up against Red's scissors. Adelaide smiles as she pushes. Then Red quickly separates the two sides of the scissors and pokes Adelaide in the side with one of the blades, sending her reeling back. Red slips through the door into Interior, the underpass, barracks, day. Rows of bunks line the empty, red-tiled sleeping quarters. It's dark. Adelaide charges in. Red is nowhere to be seen. Adelaide stalks through the bunks. The music crescendos. Red emerges from the shadows behind one bunk with a huge sneak attack. Adelaide turns just in time. Flashback. Interior. Ballet. Night. Both girls prepare for their huge finale. As the music peaks, 16-year-old Adelaide runs and leaps, landing perfectly with no partner. Interior. Underpass classroom hallway. 1993 night. 14-year-old Red's sorrow turns to rage as she runs and leaps but falls to the floor hard. Present day. Interior. Underpass barracks day. Red has been run through by the fire poker. She falls to the floor. Adelaide stands over her. Interior. The underpass barracks day. Adelaide picks up and places Red's limp body on the bed and sits next to it. Red begins to whistle, Itsy Bitsy Spider. Adelaide pushes the chain from her handcuffs into Red's neck, choking her. Adelaide weeps, but her weeping turns into laughter. Red struggles and dies. Her face goes soft in the end. And that's it. Woof.
Fantastic.
That was... Damn.
That was a lot.
Yeah, right? It was a lot. There's a lot of intercutting going on in the scene, and that's why I wanted to see how it was written.
So
Yeah.
my first thoughts on that is I feel like it kind of pulls away from the emotion. Like I know this scene is very intense and very creepy, and I feel like, I don't know, just the way that it reads with all the cuts back and forth, I feel with limited description as well, I feel like it's kind of just, I don't know, I'm wanting it to be more emotional. I think on the last page, when it's talking about the music peaking and whatnot, I think it starts to kind of ramp up and get more emotional, but I don't know, I just felt like it was kind of...
It's a very technical feat in the writing. And that's the problem, is that it gets so technical that there's a lack in the focus on their emotion in the scene.
Right.
Yeah, he also uses the phrase that her dance is classic and beautiful twice, which is redundant. Oh, he says elegant and beautiful the second time, but still. That bothered me.
Yeah.
So, okay, because I haven't watched this movie, is it kind of like a play on parallel universes?
In a sense, yes, but they do technically live in the same world, and they're mirroring one another in a way. Like there's some sort of thread that connects them that's not physical, like you can't see it, but it's real, and in ways they mirror one another, although one of them is living on the surface of the world a regular life, and the other one is just living the shadowed version of that in this hidden underworld type of thing.
So like almost a literal shadow.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Like almost a literal shadow. And I think that they do refer to themselves as shadows in the context of the story on a few occasions, right?
I'm not sure what they refer to themselves as or what anyone refers to them as.
But it's also, and you know, this is where this movie gets tricky, because I was telling Nero before we hopped on this call that I just feel like a lot of this movie goes over my head. Like, I think it's a beautiful film, but there are definitely parts where I'm like, I'm not sure I totally get this. I don't think I'm quite at that level. And I was unclear if my understanding was that there's kind of this government conspiracy going on where they're literally making, for I can't even understand what purpose, these duplicates of people. But I wasn't totally clear on that.
Yeah, I think all of Jordan Peele's movies, like, are just really deep, or you really have to look into them to get what you're looking for.
What does that mean?
Just
Well,
like
I
there's
guess
so
like
many.
more of-
Like, read the forums about it on Reddit? Like, what does looking
No,
into
yeah,
it mean
totally. Like,
exactly?
there's so many different forms of, like, why did he do this? Why why are the characters doing this? Why did Jordan do it? I mean, there's a lot of like open-ended like conversations in this to be had.
Yeah,
So
some
in other
movies are
words,
kind of
watch the
designed that
film
way.
theory.
Yeah.
Oh God, Ashley and Nero at the same time. Nero, can you repeat that?
Oh, some movies are like, yeah, designed that way where it's left for interpretation and you have to like look into it, like with interviews and such, like from the director, what he actually meant. It's like one of those movies you have to like watch in college and then you have to write a paper on, you know?
Yeah. And then Ashley, I'm sorry, what did you try to say?
I said you just need to watch the film theory about it.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's the paper that YouTube channel submits for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I think because I've watched the scene, I was still able to enjoy reading it despite the technical nature of how it's written. But I think I really enjoy sequences that are like this, that have multiple parallel things happening that are intercut into each other.
You think there'd be like an easier way to read that as a certain format? Like, how
Ashley,
we have like...
Sorry, I was going to say Ashley and I read Little Women, and I would say that methodology was very effective, and I think that could have been used here easily. Basically, you have colored font for...
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
For when you like bounce back and forth.
Yeah, so like whenever we're watching Red's version of the past, that could be in one color, and then when we're watching Adelaide's version of the past, it's in a different color, and then what's happening present day is in black.
Two different shades of red.
Definitely that could definitely make it a lot easier to, one, read, and two, understand like what's actually happening.
Man,
Yeah,
I would prefer that for sure.
Yeah, like immediate visual separation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do feel like he attempts to do that because at the end of each section he adds, what he's about to transition into, and then a ... So for me, it's like giving the reader a big, bold indication, then we're moving on to this, and then he does the ... which gives you a moment to like think and register the change. So I think there was an attempt to make it more easily readable and understandable. I just think, it's not as visually immediate as what we saw with Little Women.
So at the end of this, Adelaide kills Red, and she, like, what I would interpret of like, is she now becoming Red because of her actions too? Like, her?
Yes and no. Like,
okay.
Are you gonna watch it? Because I mean, there's still a twist after this.
Spoiler alert!
So it's like, yeah, I can spoil it. I could spoil it, or I can leave it as is. What would you prefer, Ashley?
Do it.
It doesn't matter.
Spoil.
I mean, honestly, it's okay if you spoil it because I don't know how soon I'm going to watch it or if I'll even watch it. I could watch it in the next, month. I could watch it in the next, 5 years. I really don't know.
This is one of those movies.
You go ahead.
This is one of those movies where it's like I didn't feel like I totally got all of it, and I wouldn't even say it's one of my favorite movies, but I do think it's a movie everyone should watch. I don't know. I can't really even say why. I just think that parts of the storytelling are unique to this film and are special and you should see it. But I'm happy to explain it. So the ending, the twist actually, I kind of have to go back for the ending to make sense. So at the beginning of the movie, yeah, right. At the beginning of the movie, the main character, Adelaide, is a young girl, and she ventures off in the middle of what we assume is like a fair or carnival or something, and she ventures away from her parents, and she comes across a fun house. And she goes into the fun house full of mirrors, and then she sees herself, and she meets this really kind of creepy version of her. And then in present day Adelaide, adult Adelaide, who is now married and has kids, and they're on their way to like a family cabin or something to that effect. She almost, it seems as though some of that is unclear to her if it is real, like real memories, or sort of like a dream that just haunts her.
You mean the part where she found herself in the funhouse?
Yes. Or that's the way they imply it to the audience, right? Like the audience isn't clear if that really happened to her, if it was more of a metaphorical thing.
Okay, got it.
And then in the present day, these doppelgangers show up and want to cut their ties from their other self and take their life here on the surface world, and become their own society. Mm-hmm. And so, and they're not the only ones doing this. This is happening all across the world. Like every human has a doppelganger, and every human is either getting killed by their doppelganger or killing their doppelganger. And we see that because, friends of theirs end up dying because of that. Oof. And so we're following our characters, the main family, as they're warding off their doppelgangers and trying to survive the night. And then at the end, after this final battle, when Adelaide takes down Red, we find out that night, years ago, when she was just a child, and she went into the fun house, she did meet her doppelganger, and her doppelganger took her life then. Like, she traded places with her and got her stuck in the underground world.
Oh,
and
my
so
God.
the Adelaide we've been following, who is the main character, actually was the little girl from the underworld who took her place.
Whoa.
So then it makes you think Red was completely in her right to want to be on the surface, because it's where she was always meant to be.
Right. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's why in the scene at the end we see Adelaide have a moment of relief where she starts laughing, because she has finally succeeded in ending the thing she has to live her whole life fearing the most, which is having to go back there.
Huh. Interesting.
At least that's how I remember it. I don't know. Graham, Nero, step in if...
No,
I only watched it once.
Sounds about right.
Yep. So that's the twist, and that's why she comes across kind of evil at the end of that scene.
Ah, okay. I see.
All right, well, now that I've described the entire movie...
Time to watch a scene from it?
Yeah, time to watch the scene.
All right. See you guys on the other side.
All right.
Oh, gosh.
This podcast is brought to you by Arizona Studios. Arizona Studios, a full-service video content specialist. We're here to illuminate your message and compel your audience to take the right action. For more information, head to our website at arizonastudios.com and be sure to tune in for more content on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
That shit goes crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fucked up scene, right?
It really is.
Type of shit you'll never unsee.
It's also, like, just hearing her, like, after she gets stabbed, and then just hearing her just, like, kind of choke on her blood is like, oh, God.
Oh, God, yeah. This actress, Lupita, I don't know how to say her last name, but she is just... I mean, she plays both of their physicalities so different and yet perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Maz Kanata in Star Wars. She does the voice of the that character in Star Wars that has, like, the pineapple eyes.
Pineapple eyes?
You remember in...
Chewbacca's
yeah.
girlfriend.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, she does the voice of her.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys want to talk about?
I don't know if I'm mentally prepared to watch that.
You definitely have to be in the right state of mind.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to watch it while we're, stuck at home.
Oh, for sure not. Yeah, I don't know if quarantine's the right situation to watch this movie or any of the others that are like it.
Oof.
I guess. So, just the pacing just felt a lot better visually than it does when it's being read, because these little moments of flashback, when being read, felt a little longer, like we were staying in that flashback longer than when we're watching it. It's just like a glimpse, and then
just a few frames. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that just kind of slowed down the pace when it's as a script versus when it's done. So.
Well, the time to verbally describe something versus the time to
see something,
visually understand it are, I would say significantly different.
I think that's just a challenge when it comes to script writing.
Yes, the pacing is never going to be the same. No, that's true. I think a lot of this scene and what makes it work happened in the choreography and the post.
Yeah.
I love the music.
The choreography match, to be honest with you, with both the ballet dancing in a stage versus the one that's happening in the hallway. I know they sometimes matched, besides her hitting the wall, but that's about it.
I think that they kept a lot of the concepts and tones of what's happening in the script, but that it's not an exact tat-for-tat match in terms of the choreography. Because in the script, he does play off of, there's a turning point where we can see that Red's dance gets more animalistic in the script.
She flips over.
Yeah, I think he talks about her. I mean, you could see it in the film, but I mean, even in the way he wrote it, when it starts, they are supposed to be more in sync, and by the end of the dance, you can see the differences between the two of them.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I think that's how it was written, and that they kept that overall method of telling it.
Does anyone remember what the bunnies are, or what they resemble?
You are asking the wrong person. The bunnies was definitely a part I did not get.
I think that's just an Alice in Wonderland through the looking glass kind of tribute as an artist,
Yeah, and it wasn't.
I think they're there just to be cute.
They're there to be cute. The beginning of the movie has a quote, I think, while right when you're you start off and you're looking at the rabbits for a long time, and they put in
something
a quote there.
Yeah, something about being in cages or something like that, I think.
Ooh, is the quote on the script?
I don't know. I'm looking for it now. There are thousands.
Well, and then in the classroom, isn't there a wall of cages?
Yes, that's where the rabbits are at the beginning of the movie.
Ah, okay. Got it.
You can always type in on in Google, what do the rabbits symbolize in the... Ooh, wow, I already knew what I was looking for.
It auto-filled it in.
It did.
It's because they're listening to you.
Well, because it's probably one of the most asked questions.
Well,
no, it's because they're always listening.
Often rabbits symbolize rebirth, which fits with the intentions of the tethered to start a new chapter living on the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But Peele's greater theme of duality, rabbits are often used as test subjects, which represents the lives of these tethered as abandoned experiments.
That also makes sense.
Jordan Peele.
Was there a...
Yeah, right. That guy must have nightmares like all the time.
Which is
right?
funny because I know him from like Mad TV, and he's like,
Yeah.
Comedy
silly
Central.
goof. Yeah. But then you can, like, in Key and Peele, like, if you look at some of their skits, you can tell which one, like, was probably directed by Jordan.
Yeah.
Was there a quote at the beginning of the script? Did anybody check that?
I couldn't find it.
Oh.
Les fleurs. I found that.
Yeah.
It's another French thing.
It might have been something that was, again, like a post decision.
Yeah.
To add the quote in.
Hold on. Maybe if we use Google.
I mean, I see
Oh,
a
wait,
quote,
no.
but
This is the
doesn't...
text.
Yeah, I see a quote, but it doesn't mention rabbits.
No, but we see the rabbits, and then we cut to this quote that seems totally unrelated, right? Until we know later in the movie. It's so the text at the first page is, there are thousands of miles of tunnels beneath the continental United States, abandoned subway systems, unused service routes, and deserted mine shafts. Many have no known purpose at all. That appears in text at the beginning of the movie.
That sounds so
appears,
random.
Yeah, at the time it appears, like, we're looking at these bunnies. Read the text. We look at these bunnies. They seem completely unrelated until much later in the film.
Are the bunnies, like, I forget, were they like in a field or something, or are we just looking at?
No, they're in cages.
No, the bunnies were in the cages at the beginning of the movie. But I think that's the point, because later when we come back to the tunnels, the bunnies are set loose, like the untethered or the tethered.
Right, the tethered.
So, yep. And then there's that whole weird hands across the world thing that they play. Yeah.
Hands Across America.
Yeah. This movie gets weird.
So artsy.
Yeah.
Oh, and they didn't use the Nutcracker. They used that cool ass. Dun-dun-dun.
Oh, yeah. The soundtrack's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch this with Claire tonight.
I know. I feel like rewatching it now as well.
I was gonna say, I think it has that effect. I'm kind of feeling that too. I'm like, this is one of those things you need to watch more than once.
Right,
Yep,
Ash?
it's a hard pass for me. Yeah, it's gonna be a no for me, dog. No, I think I'm gonna go complete 180 and be like, nope, I am mentally not prepared for this.
Yeah, I still need to watch Midsommar.
Oh man, so
that's another one.
When it comes to like not being mentally prepared, like I get that, but me and Claire, we like acknowledge that and just like we're not ready, but we're gonna hit play, because when will we be ready? You know what I mean?
Never.
Yeah.
This movie.
Exactly.
I would say Hereditary, and I'm assuming Midsommar, which I haven't watched, but I can only assume. I think that those are the types of films you are never ever mentally ready for.
Exactly, and that's what pushes me forward to watching them. I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah, or like Perfume, Raw, like.
Oh man.
Some horror films, man, are just so deeply mentally disturbed.
Shit, what's the one that's like deemed as you really only should watch this once and follow it up with like a shit ton of comedies afterwards?
Oh, dear.
Other than all of the ones I just listed, I don't know.
Right. It's an older movie.
Fuck. Silence of the Lambs?
No. Hold on.
Because I definitely had that feeling after Silence of the Lambs. I'm like, I need to watch some
Hold on,
other.
let me ask Matt. Hold on.
Anyway, good movie. Yeah. Good
Darling in the Franxx?
The Shining.
Darling in the Franxx. That made me so angry.
Evangelion?
Requiem for a Dream.
Oh, okay.
Man, I'll watch that shit for fun.
No. Yeah, that one is like that one I know is for sure like one of those movies that Matt's like, I want to watch it because I want you to watch it, but we should not just end it there. Like, we need to have like a queue of like a bunch of feel-good movies afterwards.
I feel that way about like sad animes, you know, like animes that are there to make you cry. It's like, at the end of this, I need to have like plenty of time left in my evening to watch happy things so that I can go to sleep.
Yeah.
Working for a Dream isn't that bad.
I mean, I just assume it's just.
It's
I don't
bad,
know.
but you'll get over it.
I mean, yeah, eventually you do end up getting over things that you watch, but it's like, I don't know, man. I think
get,
part
like,
of the reason
random
why
flashbacks of it, but
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't totally agree with that, because I'm not going to lie, guys. Like, I, to this day, am haunted by The Grudge. Like, I see that shit everywhere. Like,
yeah,
all the time.
I hate, what was the one that I watched in theaters? The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That one.
Oh, yeah. I actually love that
was,
movie.
Ugh, no. I'm good. I don't ever want to watch that again.
I think Insidious is the only one that's stuck in my head, and it's because it's like one of the first horror movies that I like was really into, and I was younger when I saw it. So that shit
Yeah,
scared...
that was me in The Grudge, so
yeah.
I get you.
You know what? I just realized, because we're all sharing, it's not a movie or anything. It's a fucking episode of. You know how I just said like you're not really mentally prepared when you have to watch certain things. Like
Yeah.
for some dumb reason, we decided to watch an episode of Hoarders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I was like, no, this episode that we specifically picked was the worst.
Oh.
It was bad. And I guess that's...
Ugh.
And I have flashbacks of it. So, I get it. Never mind, I get it. Oh, hey, Kasai.
Kasai.
It's my
Aw.
cat. My cat's joining the podcast.
Woohoo!
Anyway, cool. So that was us. And, is there anything else we can talk about?
We could talk more about us.
Oh, just you know what? Instead, we're gonna be talking
This is
about
already
us.
confusing.
Oh, I just got a notification that Nira Manello is in the house.
Wow, Cram, that sounded like a sound bite.
Yeah.
All right, I am going to head to lunch, so we're going to wrap this up. This has been a new episode, a new script on the block, featuring our segment Before the Scene on the movie Us. So make sure to check out the clip from the movie and the script in the links in our description on YouTube and SoundCloud. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, well, then when you get home, make sure to go to our YouTube and give us a thumbs up and subscribe and click on that notification button. All right, cool. You'll hear us next time.